Society Jamshedpur, Revered Muktidanandaji Maharaj, our dear Muktidanandaji Maharaj, respected elders, brother monks, and devotees. The Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Society, Jamshedpur, has completed 100 years of service to humanity, glorious 100 years of service, perhaps predominantly the field of education, then spirituality, and various other modes of service. This center is closely associated with the presence of Muktidanandaji Maharaj. We call it, everybody used to call it Kalida Maharaj. We few monks after the sannyasa decided to come to Jamshedpur and stay with Kalida Maharaj for 3 days, experience his loving hospitality, take his blessings, and it is a great source of inspiration, a lesson to see his routine. We saw him at that old age, even after the food. He will sit and he will read gospel, and with a pencil he will underline also the important points. So his Swadhyaya, emphasis on Swadhyaya, we can really make out by seeing his daily routine. Anyway, I'm thankful to Swami Amrutarupanandaji Maharaj for giving me an opportunity to be here during this great celebration and address you all on the topic already announced, Seva Yoga, a new method of spiritual sadhana for the modern age. Revered Muktidanandaji Maharaj has given you very many important ideas on this subject. Seva Yoga, a new method of spiritual sadhana for the modern age. See, Seva means, what do we mean by Seva? How do you understand Seva Yoga? Work becomes worship. Work becomes service. And service becomes worship when we spiritualize it by dedicating it to the divine, dedicating it to the welfare of the society. And that is why the karma, this earth is called karma bhumi. If at all we have to make this karma bhumi a yoga bhumi, we really need to learn to transform karma into karma yoga, karma into a seva yoga. This coinage of karma yoga in an upgraded with more practical connotation as Seva Yoga, perhaps is first popularized by revered Swami Muktidanandaji, one of his writers. But it is initially Sri Thakur, as mentioned by Muktidanandaji, who announced a new sadhana for the age, that it is not, we need not do service to the people, especially the poor, with compassion. What is needed is you should consider divine everybody. Shiva Bhave Jiva Seva. To consider, to see the divine within everybody, and then offer service, then that service or the work becomes yoga. Shiva Jnana you should acquire first, and then do the Jiva Seva with that reference to the divine. So, spiritualizing the divinizing the work and the service is what is called as Seva Yoga. So, Seva Yoga, if you really understand, we try to think of God during our Upasana, during repeating our Ishta Mantra. We think of thinking of God during our Swadhyaya Bhajans, Japa. But in between that we may do few hours in the morning and few hours in the evening. But what about the rest of the hours? If at all we will extend our spiritual seeking, our worshipful attitude beyond the restricted hours of sadhana, then we must get into the Seva Yoga. Morning to evening, all that emerges from us in the form of work, in the form of transaction, in the form of human relations, whatever may be the work that we do in the world, in the family, in the society, as our duty, as for the self-management, as for the social management, as various kinds of situation we offer ourselves to the world. All that should be centered in God consciousness. We should struggle and try to cultivate this Daiva Prajna. Awareness of the divine within, beyond the restricted hours of japa, meditation and bhajan, to see that the Lord everywhere, Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva. And then we will be able to transform our work into worship. So Swami Vivekananda is the prophetic his statement that each soul is potentially divine, and the goal is to manifest the divinity by controlling nature, external and internal, and do it by work, worship, or any of the means and be free. See, worship of God in meditation, worship of God in temple, and worship of God in man or human being, or whatever we do in the worship of God through work, through seva, is a very important thing. That is what is called the new method of spiritual sadhana for this modern age advocated by Swami Vivekananda in his practical Vedanta. So you can get into, if you are interested in, or if your natural disposition is toward the Jnana Yoga, where you feel the potential divinity Atman within and the same spiritual presence of the divine Brahman everywhere, then any transaction between you and the world becomes a worship. And that is seva. Seva for a bhakta. He will see the Ishta Devata within his heart, and when he does his work, he will think that everything is to please God, to love God. And he transforms every work as seva. So, adoring the divine amidst work is a tremendous thing which has a transforming power. If we are able to practice this, see, mind is outgoing when doing work. And we try to put our mind inside, inwardize the mind when we do japa and meditation. But when we do the work with the inner awareness, drashtim jnanamayam kritva pashyet brahmamayam jit. Practice this. It may not be possible all at once, but if we gradually make a habit of practicing every work as seva, then the transformation will be faster. Our different layers of the mind gets purified, and we will have the Chitta Shuddhi faster, a combination, a synthesis of yoga. If you can practice with cementing the gap between what is called upasana, spiritual sadhana, japa and meditation, with the seva yoga, doing work with a spiritual awareness, and consecrating it for Priyadam Pundari Kaksha Sarva Yajneshwaro Hari, for the sake of the Lord, for pleasing Lord. The Christian saint Brother Lawrence, there's a statement he says. He used to work in the kitchen. If he keeps one dish from one place to another place, he will do it to please God. Let me do this little work with so much of concentration and perfection so that God may be pleased. So, if you can transform the little secular acts of life, that is what Swamiji wanted, to bridge between the secular and the spiritual. Sister Nivedita says, hereafter, there is no distinction between the secular and the spiritual. So Seva Yoga bridges the gap between spiritual and secular by spiritualizing work, by spiritualizing everything that we do, so that as Sister Nivedita mentions in her introduction to the Swamiji's complete verse, the life becomes yoga. The entire life becomes yoga. So our approach should be that even after we come out of the meditation or get out of the seat of meditation or worship, when we do the secular activities, can we cultivate that seva bhava, awareness of the divine? That is, like the Gita says, Tesham Satata Yukta Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. Is Satata Yukta. How to be Satata Yukta, continuously united with God? It is only through this kind of a karma yoga or seva yoga or spiritualizing the service and the work, it is possible to connect ourselves with God. Further, Gita says, Mat karma krit. You do work for the sake of me. Mad Parama. Adoring me as the highest. Mad Bhakta Sangha Varjita. As a devotee. And without any attachment. So this is what the importance of Karma Yoga. So Swami Vivekananda was wondering that India, with such a rich treasury of spirituality, and so many spiritual masters, but how to bring that spiritual power into the day-to-day life and transform not only human consciousness, but how to eradicate poverty and bring about the social welfare and economic welfare. It is only by Swamiji's practical Vedanta that implies Seva Yoga, that implies spiritualized Karma Yoga. And if India or the world adopts this philosophy of seeing religion not only as a restricted worship in the temple and meditation, but an extended worship in service. Service of God in man. Service of God in man. This motto Swamiji wanted to really popularize. If an individual tries for this kind of a formidable combination of the synthesis of yoga, carefully with the Seva Yoga, to see that every moment to moment when we negotiate life, different types of situation come. It's all a karma or the work that we will offer to the divine. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad jihosi dadasi, yat tapasya sekotahiya, kurushva madarpanam. That is what the Krishna says. Also in the 18th chapter, yata pravritir bhutanam, yena sarvam vidam tatam, swakarmanam tamabhyarcha, siddhim vindanti manava. Swakarmanam tamabhyarcha. So, transforming work into a means of spiritual practice. This is a new method of spiritual practice for the modern age, where the religion becomes static religion, becomes dynamic and service-oriented with a spiritualized service. If the modern India can adopt this, the Karma Yogi attitude or the Seva Yoga attitude, then we will get so much of power even to do the work with perfection. With a spiritualized, awakened mind, the work that we do will become yajna. Yajnartha karmanonyatra lokhoyam karma bandhana. If at all we have to do the work, we must do the work, the spirit of yajna. The cosmic yajna is going on. Actually, our role in a man-made world is very, very, very restricted and limited. The Prakriti is doing its yajna, that's why we all exist. The physical body exists, mind exists, our jiva, everything exists because of that. That is the yajna of the divine. Continuously there is, Lord Himself is doing the work. So if we correlate ourselves in harmony with the cosmic yajna, through Seva Yoga, that is what Sri Ramakrishna mentioned as Shiva Bhave Jiva Seva, or what Swamiji struggled to, through his Neo Vedanta, practical Vedanta, see the potential divinity in everybody. And there is also worship of the Virata. That seeing the Paramatman as the Tata just now mentioned, not only within is without, also that is what is required to really make an attempt for the multiple transformation of our personality using this Seva Yogas, Seva, which is a multiple tool of transformation. See here, Seva is mainly, we have got three types of samskaras: sattva, rajas and tamas. It is sattva state alone can give us the spiritual illumination. But we are in the tamasic stage of ignorance and inertia. Both ignorance and inertia belong to the tamas. There is also in between rajas. Rajas guided by sattva. What you want is rajas. When we sit in meditation, in japa and meditation, we become static and we inward-eye. We try to awaken the sattva samskaras in us. But when we do seva, remembering the divine, it is sattva, it is rajas guided by sattva. A lot of rajas, which is power to do work, that gets transformed into a positive force for the Jagat Hita. What is Atmana Moksha is ensured, and when we adapt to Jagat Hita by Seva Yoga, then the rajas get transformed into gradually sattva. And we perhaps get the chitta shuddhi faster than our static meditation, a combination of meditation, a combination of bhakti bhav, interspersed with seva yoga. If it is done, the transformation will be much faster, and chitta shuddhi also becomes much faster. So, usually it is said, karmastu chitta shuddhaye natu vastu palabdhaye. Work cannot give us the illumination. That is what the Upanishad Vedanta Advaita philosophy says. But then, by doing the Seva Yoga along with other upasanas, a synthesis of yoga, a combination of yogas, then our chitta shuddhi will be faster and quicker. And from that state of chitta shuddhi to vastu upalabdhi will be a half step and jump. Because Tata mentions that Shuddhaman or Atma Ek, once the mind has become pure, inner spiritual, what is called capability, which gives the power to experience God, which is called Chaitya Purusha or psychic being. That part of the mind, Brahmananda says, is in a bud form in each one of us, which is capable of having a spiritual experience. We may do sadhana, but to have spiritual experience, we need to have a grace of Guru and God, which means by God, by His grace, should awaken the inner deepest that capability of the mind to experience the divine. So this chitta shuddhi, which we do during seva yoga, will awaken the mind, awaken the intellect. Then the viveka, intense spiritual aspiration, detachment becomes just natural. And because the seva yoga will continuously transform the mind faster. So that is why we attain chitta shuddhi through seva yoga faster. So if you understand the psychological processes in which samskara get into the sattva mode, divinization of the samskaras, divinization of the mind, and the vritti becomes prajna vritti, or ordinary vritti becomes in the pure mind, because in the pure mind, the light of the Atman, divine, gets reflected. And with that prajna vritti, if you are able to do work in the world, it will be a great seva yoga. That